I took around 45 minutes to complete the pen and ink line art, and now I'm going to add watercolor. This is a mixture of Mission Gold watercolor and Daniel Smith. So I'm going to start with the sky first with cerulean blue. I'm really digging this color right now. This is a really beautiful color for skies, and I'm going to add it with some burnt sienna. So I'm going to put it somewhere here. Alright, let me try it here. So when you add burnt sienna to cerulean blue, it turns gray. So it's a really cloudy day. I think this is a color that suits the mood. Part of the color can go over the construction area, because later on that will be covered over with a darker blue. The next color I want to add is yellow. There is a lot of yellow, so I have already put some water on this yellow. I'm going to put it here. This yellow is a bit too glaring, so I'm going to add some new gumbosh to it and use that to color the taxi. Oops. Some of the lanterns are in yellow as well, so I'm just going to dab the color onto the lanterns. Now this is just a sketch. It's part of the fun is drawing, and part of the fun is really about having fun. So sometimes you don't have to be too caught up with the accuracy. You just have to get the impression there, get the mood there, and that is, I think, good enough. I'm going to dab some yellow into the decorations as well. There's a bit of yellow here and there. So for the next part, I'm going to add the color to the roof, which is going to be orange. I will be mixing new gumbosh with primary red. So this should give me a bright orange. To get a bright orange, regardless of the brand you're using, you should just add orange to a warm red. Or if you already have an orange, maybe you can just dab some warm red to it. I think I'm going to start here. Some of the paint is not dry yet, so it's a bit difficult for me to go around the yellow, for example. Usually when drawing this outdoors, this should dry pretty quickly. So now I have to work my way around the yellow color and also around some of the lanterns. Okay, I think I've added all the main parts. I'm now going to color the tent since I'm still using red. I'm going to add some burnt sienna to the red so that it's not that glaring. Some parts of the buildings are also in red, so I want to add that in. It's a bit dark, so I want to add some red to it, and ultramarine and burnt sienna. So it's basically this part here. These areas are quite dark, they are in the shade, so later I will add another shadow layer over. Okay, So now I can wash my brush. I'm going to add colors to the construction area, which is just right behind. That will be in ultramarine blue with some burnt sienna, but mostly with ultramarine on this part to basically just stand out. Okay, and for the ground here, I will use, it's actually not very dark, so I'm going to use cerulean blue again with some burnt sienna to get that beautiful gray colored mixture. I'm mixing in a bit of ultramarine just to get some variation going. Some parts here are in gray, so I want to color that right now. Actually, all the pillars are in sort of a dark gray. I'm trying to color this as a general shape, and later I will add in shadows to all these doorways. Okay, for the decorations on the roof, I'm going to use some cerulean blue. The decorations are a bit difficult to color because there are actually a lot of colors there. So later on I will just go in and dab some colors onto the decorations again. And for this part here, I will color this with probably with a lighter shade of purple or magenta. So I'm going to use ultramarine and use a bit of a cool red to get a purple color, and some burnt sienna to make sure that it's not that bright, to make sure the purple is not that bright. Okay, now I'm going to wait for this to dry before I add in the shadows. So this is almost dry. I've went ahead to draw in some lines on the left side because I saw some things that I forgot to draw. So I'm going to color that as well. It's this part here, which is slightly green, and then there's red there. Okay, so now I want to add in the colors for the lanterns first. That will be red. And some of the decorations have red as well, so I'm going to dab some of the colors onto the decorations. Not too much because red is quite strong. I think that's about it. And now I can add in the shadow tones. So for the shadows, I'm going to be using ultramarine and burnt sienna. So this is ultramarine and this is burnt sienna. So these two colors are the colors that I use up really quickly. So I'm going to add the shadows here. If it's not dark enough, then I have to add in more paint. This sketch is almost done. I just need some darker orange to get to these areas, just to give it a bit more variation. And I'm going to do some touch up. Now I'm going to add some finishing touches to the sketch. This is the Uniball Signal Gel Stick. The ink is waterproof when dry. So I'm using this to write some words on the banners. Okay, next I'm going to use the white gel pen to write some words here. On these lanterns are some words as well, so I just want to dab some ink over the lantern. And lastly, I'm going to add some stripes to the road. For that, I'll be using white gouache. I have to add that a bit carefully. And lastly, I have to write the name of the temple. I got the name from Google Maps. So this is it. This is the completed sketch. Let me zoom into some of the details. So that's the roof. I think this part should be much darker, so I'm going to add more paint to this part here. Alright. That's all for this tutorial. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll be happy to answer them.